pull the trigger. Right, welcome back, councillors, for this afternoon's session. So we're just having a discussion for this afternoon that we will stop at page 114 because the community funding requests are lined up for Thursday, and there could be interested members of the public that would like to be present for that decision round. 114, yeah, that's the community funding request. That's item number 11 on the agenda. But of note, we could touch on at the close around the simplifying local government update is where Steve and I, what we've been finding out. As the last, outside of the meeting, of course, yeah. So please, we'll move on to page number 91, and we'll welcome Jordan and Mike to the floor. Just Mike. Jordan's
here to help, Your Worship, and I've also got Melissa to answer any questions as well.
Lovely. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. And so thank you, Your Worship. I'm just happy to take this item as read, and so Melissa's here, Jordan's here, and we can help answer any questions, hopefully.
Right. Any questions for Mike? No questions for Mike? Councillor Graham.
How, if funding for this was deferred for a year, how is that going to affect any building program and all that sort of stuff? Because they're pretty well on with the design and build and all that, or the design part of it, aren't they?
Through you, Your Worship. I mean, I guess it's, so the project is not led by council, obviously, it's led by the trust. So that's more a question for them, but my understanding from my conversations with Hans is that they're pretty keen to push on. He's the driving force behind it, I guess, and he's keen to get things done as quickly as he can for a number of reasons. In terms of our library, Melissa might like to comment on that, but I guess it does operate reasonably. It's not falling over just yet, but it's not ideal. To be fair.
But just to clarify, the rating impact is until 28-29. So if you were asking the question, councillor, is thinking because of the situation in terms of next year's rating year, and deferring it would have an impact on next year's rating year. Deferring it doesn't have an impact on next year's rating year, because if you carry on the project, it's not actually happening until 28-29 in terms of the rating impact. So deferring it might end up having a 2-year impact in that sense.
Councillor Frost.
Yeah, look, I think we've had some pretty good discussions on this whole project and had a good look at it when we went on our tour, and I think it's time just to move on and get on with it, get it approved.
Councillor Cotton, or was that all?
No, I was just agreeing with Councillor Frost.
Just to chuck a wee bit of history in there. I've been, before I was mayor, I was a councillor for 3 years, and this group of people have been coming to council in that tenure. So I think they'll be very keen to get moving. They've invested a lot of time in it. So if there's no further questions, I will ask someone to move recommendation 1.
So moved.
Councillor Cotton, seconded by Councillor Catherwood. And I'll call for someone to make a motion on recommendation 2. Councillor Frost.
I'd like to move the motion number 2 that the council approves the funding, I think, which was 2.5 million, if I'm correct. And that we go for option 2 in the funding model, which is the 47% libraries and 53% community centres.
Do I have a seconder? seconded by councillor Catherwood. Any further, there's no further discussion, we'll go straight to the vote. Councillor Frost?
I thought it should be a vote.
Oh, right. If there's no further.
I would make
Oh,
a comment, your worship.
Can't, he does the final.
Yeah.
Is there nothing else before then?
You close the debate.
Yeah, no further discussion. Councillor Kennedy?
As the ward councillor, I need to make a thing on this, that the community is behind this project in a big way. We've held back from fixing the rest of the community centre, thinking that, you know, our lovely library ladies that wash out with their tarpaulins when it's raining and that sort of thing, that they have a better working establishment to work in. Plus, going forward with the community hubs in the districts, this is going to be a major asset. I just, going forward, would like a third recommendation in this as well, that council will back the community if it's needed. I'm not listening.
Sorry, we just got this question, if you're talking to us.
But yeah, so and I would like to, just put that forward, that we are going to need that backing to be there, just in case it's a backstop.
Is that not what councillor Frost is proposing? Is that not the recommendation that's in front of us, that we are committed?
Yeah, you're committed to the 2.5.
Yeah.
But if the community are having to put up another 40%, where the other community are only putting up 10%. So just in case that something goes amiss, and we don't know, we haven't got crystal balls out there at the moment with what's going on in the.
Yeah, this would be a good question for Steve.
Would hate to be ending up a big blowout or anything, because if that happens, the pin will get pulled. That's all I'm saying. We do need that bit of assurance just to be
not
there.
quite 100% clear for me, councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. I thought we had already done that in a previous meeting. When the committee came and they asked us to back them so they could get on and get the funding. So maybe that suffice, I don't know.
Have we got that in writing?
There was an agenda item on that.
You probably missed a little bit of that conversation.
So
So the actual question is,
So the actual question is, Steve, that our community need to know that ANZ that's running this project needs to know that if for some reason something goes major, that the council will back them. It's funding I'm talking about.
well, I mean, through your worship, I mean, you can't do that, and we haven't done that in the past. Topoma, we had the up to. We didn't guarantee Topoma
So you haven't guaranteed Milton if they can't get their 2 million?
No, it's the same thing. If you recall what my story about Topoma was, you'll recall that the scope changed by the committee, and there was also some cost escalations that the committee was dealing with, and the project required more than what we originally put in. And they came back to council, and we worked our way through that. The government put another 50% in, and we put in 50%. But it was a come back to council discussion that council was able to do it. We never guaranteed anything. There was always a risk associated with stuff. Milton is the same. When the Milton Community Library and Swimming Pool, the committee has said, we think we can fund $2 million. Right? But what happens, there's always the question, what happens if they only do $1 million? Again, it's not a guarantee. It is, you'll find that council becomes a first port of call. Sure, they come back and we're interested in how the project's going and we need to deal with that. But what we don't do, we've never done that, is guaranteed. What we have done is accepted that there may be a risk of certain things, and that we get to see that when it happens, if it happens.
Okay, that's fine. It's just, I think that committee will need to know. I think it was a reassurance that they just needed to know that it's not going to be stranded. That was all.
I think it'd be fairly clear, Councillor Kennedy, from the council's perspective in the room today and leading up till today, that we've always been supportive and are prepared as a council to work with them, because there's always challenges moving forward. So, I mean, they're unknown. So it's only a conversation.
Thank you.
Councillor McAtamney.
Yep, I agree with that, Your Worship. I mean, it's been quite clear in the option there, it says up to. So we want to stick with that for the moment. That 2.5 million gives some confidence to move the project forward.
Progress.
But up to also means that we're not committing to an open checkbook. Yeah, and I'd just like to say that I am fully supportive, or will be fully supportive of these guys getting this underway. I think it's we talked about for 4 or 5 years, and as I see it, and hopefully this is the last big community upgrade in the district, the third one of 3, and hopefully for quite a wee while. I want to see it on its way and done.
Don't ever forget the refurbishment of Balclutha at some point. That's going to cost a little bit.
That'll be for a unitary authority to.
CBC. We can't forget Balclutha, Lawrence, Waka, Milton, Clinton. We've got a lot of communities of interest throughout the district. And just to support Councillor McAtamney there, the West Otago community have been very supportive of the district as a whole over the years. And there's a great bunch of people over there. So if there's no further discussion, Councillor Frost has put that recommendation forward. We'll go straight into the vote. Please, those in favour, raise your hands. Unanimous, carried. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
2.5 and option 2. Yep.
Yep. Right. Page
Page 100.
Page 100. Milton Centennial Pool consultation questions. We've got Jordan. No, it's just Mike.
Nice to meet you again. Jordan's also here. She helped to prepare this, Your Worship. Happy to answer any questions on this one as well, but otherwise take it as read.
Just makes a point, Your Worship. Just make the point, Your Worship, that Milton consultation tends to be about 50-50 on things.
Are we allowed to make comment, or am I better off to wait till the?
Or questions for Mike, please. If there's no questions, then we'll go into discussion. Councillor Frost.
Look, so I did note that because I read this very carefully, Steve, and it was reasonably well split, but I think those in favour virtually all came from Milton. So the local community are actually not for closing the pool, and so therefore I would take a stance where I would not approve closing the Milton pool. I think it's important that it's open for young children to learn to swim and for the schools to use over the summer. And, hopefully the new pool's open after that and they'll be able to move to a new facility. But I just think that like some of the submissions said, that that delay in a year of the young children not being able to learn to swim and that, I think outweighs the $120,000 it's going to cost to have it open. And we know there's a risk that if something breaks down or something that it could end up being closed.
Regardless. Oh, thank you, Councillor Frost. Councillor McCroskey, you got any comment, being a community of interest in your neck of the woods?
I was 100% in agreement with Larry. He didn't say it, I would have.
Yep. Lovely. Any further discussion, councillors? Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. The only thing I would note, in one of the submissions, somebody said that they weren't very impressed with how the pool's been upkept. So is that a concern for us going forward?
I don't know if it's a concern for us going forward, but it's possibly something that Mike could note, or Jordan can note to take back to the people who run the pool down there, that there is concern that's noted in the submissions that it could possibly do with a deep clean or whatever they mean by that submission. So, yeah, I think that would be the way forward there, Councillor. Mike, would that be fair?
We can certainly have a wee look at that, Your Worship. See what that might be about.
Yeah,
Detail.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, possibly it's a comment relating to just the age of the pool. There's not much
That's
you can
right.
do, or maybe it's something else.
Or the rubbish bin might have been full, the grass wasn't mowed. So, yeah. Councillor Frost, you had.
Look, I was going to say, I did note that there was one thing in the submissions, but most of the people I've talked to that go to the Milton pool are highly complimentary about the pool and the fact that it's there. They take their children and their grandchildren along. And there is some comment about, they think that the council has probably let maybe maintenance and things slip a little bit, but that's probably understandable as we move towards building the new pool library complex. So most people are very appreciative of being open.
Oh, well, obviously you've got eyes and ears for detail, Councillor Frost. You're out there and about the community, so thank you for that. Councillor McAtamney.
Yeah, I'm probably preparing to go counter to Bruce-based councillors, just on the fact that while a lot of people said they would like it open, the stats that were presented about the total number of users, it's been on a massive decline since about 2011. And then on the number of school users, that's been on the same rate. So that while the schools aren't actually using it, obviously anywhere near to the extent that they once were. So, yeah, I imagine, well, I hope they're going to spark up again next year when the new one's open and make use of it. But yeah, I wouldn't be, just a bit reluctant. It looks quite expensive per user.
Thank you, Councillor McAtamney. Councillor Catwood.
Oh, well, so just to throw a spanner in the works, but see, cost savings of 369,000 included in the draft budget, 26-27. You're making the saving close to 100. The opening would be close to 115,000. I see there's only 14 people for, 14 against, a 50-50 split. I'm listening to where the local council is saying to keep it open. Why couldn't we have an amendment to the recommendation where this actually got written like the rest of most of the pools in the district? Went back as a community pool. We could make cost savings and keep the pool open and have a win-win situation. So instead of it being a council-controlled pool, it's open at this season but have the community, because you look at the uses, there's quite a lot of people using it. So I'll have an amendment to the recommendation. We do not approve the closure of the Milton pool and to restructure it into a community pool, operate as a community pool with a reduced budget.
I think that train, I thought possibly could have been better off in the submission, Councillor Catwood, and the staff could have had time to prepare for recommendations, but at this last 11th hour, I don't know if that'd be viable. When does the pool open? We're only talking weeks or
November. Oh, no, it's November.
November, yeah.
Is that right, Holly?
What's either open or closed?
Well, that's right. But the recommendations in front of us, I don't know, an amendment like that's quite severe. Like, there's a lot of work behind that. Then you've got to go to the community and consult the community. Like I say, it should be part of the consultation process. Not an amendment. That's my view anyway. Councillor Harrison, you had your hand up.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say that if we do decide to reopen the pool, there have to be some communication with the community if it does not open properly for a start, that we're not going to push it and try and get it open. If it's broken, it's broken.
That's unknown though, isn't it? I'm sure the staff will be doing that anyway.
Your Worship, just on the previous point, look, Kaitangata was an example where the resolution which was done at this time said close the pool. And there's no, like, if if the vote was to close the poll, then that's all we need in that sense. But it doesn't stop the community coming to us and doing something like Kotangata. And there could be no time, or it's not going to work, or whatever. But it was all predicated on the resolution to close the poll. Right? So it wasn't an alternative resolution. It was close the poll, but we'd be open to. Is there any practical way that what Councillor Catherwood has suggested could work? That's something to be looked at. But I'd just be suggesting that it doesn't therefore need an alternate, resolution 2B or something like that around what's being suggested. It all picks up from if you decide to close it, then close it, and then you can look at other alternatives if you wish to.
But we're possibly getting a wee bit ahead of ourselves because we do have a recommendation from Councillor Frost on the table. So if it doesn't go anywhere, then possibly.
I'm just picking up though Councillor Catherwood's hurrying about an amendment. I'm just saying I don't think an amendment would be necessary. It all resolves whether it's if Councillor Frost's resolution wins. It's all beside the point.
Yep.
If it fails, then the resolution is to close.
Councillor Brown.
Mr. Chair, sort of question more for Councillor Frost when he says that all the people he's talked to, what sort of numbers are you talking to? More than 14, or trying to get a number of 14 submitters in favour doesn't really.
Yeah, but I mean how do we put this? So probably most people in Milton didn't know that the council was even considering closing the Milton pool, because in any of the notifications that I read in the paper, there was no mention of like a 20.58% rate rise or closing of the Milton pool. It just said if you wanted to be in the consultation, go to the website. So yeah, I spoke to several people in Milton, so I think most of those people put a submission in because they knew what was going on. So yeah, if you want to make a decision, well, personally, I think if you want to make a decision about shutting a local facility, it actually needs to be promoted so that people can actually understand what's going on and then decide whether they want to put in a submission or not.
Was it not in the submission document?
Yes, it was, but it's, there is large amounts of apathy within communities about bothering to submit to councils because over the years, most of them would probably say to you, Bruce, that there's no point because they don't listen. So people become disengaged and then they don't get involved in the process. So I suppose this would be another example. So if, most of the people that have submitted from Milton want the pool kept open, and so now if the council goes, oh, that's cool, we'll close it, most of those people that would have submitted would say, well, what was the point?
Just to add to that, it was very clear to me and to Roger and Simon when we went around the water schemes. The consultation document had all the information in it, but a lot of people still struggled with it, and it was very fruitful for them that we actually attended to talk to it in the flesh. So I fully sympathise with Councillor Frost, what he's saying. Right, we've got a motion on the floor. Any further questions or discussion? I'll call for a vote. Oh, we'll proceed. So would you like to read out that resolution again, please, so everyone's clear? You want to slip another one in?
I just want to ask a question. So if I support Councillor Frost's motion, because he's the man on the ground that's been talking to the local people there. So there's a reason that he's for it to stay open, but is there no caveat to that of like, if it needs new filtration and pumps, I mean, that's just, we're committing ourselves into budget, spending money outside of budget.
So your question is?
What? Can we put some type of ring fence around it to support that? I want to support Councillor Frost, but at what cost? Like, we know that that plant and equipment is on its last legs.
Yeah. So, Your Worship, if there was some event occurred, we'd come back to you. in that, because there's a valid question. Any investment in that pool, now that we are building a new one, has to be questioned.
Not going to throw good money after bad. Councillor Harris.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to clarify before. It got in here, the disadvantages and risks is the equipment failure with additional cost to repair or replace the plant in order to keep the pool operating. So therefore, if we were going to open the pool for the season, we would have to have something saying, if we can't get it started, we're not chucking a heap of money in.
I'll go to the back here. I've got Donna's just going to comment.
Thank you. Through your worship, as part of the actual community consultation for the new Milton Pool and Library, it was clearly stated at that time that at any point in time, if the current facility needed renewal upgrades, that it would be closed. So we've possibly already covered that.
Yes, this is resolution is to open for the season, but some event could occur during the season.
Before the season.
Or before the season.
During,
Yeah.
You let that know.
So we fully understand that.
Yeah. So the short and tall was to drop its bundle. We're going to have to come back and talk about it. Yeah.
It's either that.
Councillor.
Just to be clear, this whole proposal came through from our pool staff and community staff, didn't it?
It was,
Yeah, it's got Mike at the Jordan and Mike.
yes, because we were asked, it was one of the cost saving measures that we put forward and suggested here's one way of saving some money.
Yeah. Okay. No.
That's all.
Right, have we exhausted all the corridor, the conversations, questions?
Well,
Councillor Cathal, last
comment,
one.
no, I'll make a comment to that because he's correct. It came to the table, because the staff came to us. Which, good question to put out consultation, makes total sense, save the buck. Turns out, from what you're saying, Larry, is that we have gone out to consultation, but the community, when aware of it, haven't engaged. Now the feedback is that they still want the pool open.
Right.
14.
So, yeah.
Councillor Smith, you haven't had a question. Would you like one?
Just waiting at the moment.
Right, I'm going to call for a vote. Show of hands. We'll go back before Councillor Cathal. Righto, can you please read the...
The council does not approve the closure of the Milton Pool for the 26-27 season.
So, right, we're clear on that. It does not approve closure. And just a minor formality, we did pass recommendation 1, didn't we?
No, we haven't.
We haven't, so we better go back and pass recommendation 1. So would someone like to move recommendation 1? Councillor Harrison, Councillor Kennedy, thank you. Right, show of hands, the council approves, does not approve closure of the Milton Pool. Please raise your hands if you're in support. Right. And those not in favour, please raise your hands.
Sorry.
Yep.
Did you get them all?
Right, thank you. Right, we'll move on to 107, and thank you, Mike. 107 and item number 9. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you, Worship. Let me just take this report as read. To take any questions or discussions.
Councillor McAtamney.
Yeah, through your worship, Greg, just on different options for the voluntary targeted rates, home energy improvements. What are we looking at there for potential uses? I mean, there's a big push at the moment for solar. I'm hopeful we're not going there.
So I think that's yes, on page 109 it says home energy improvements, e.g. insulation, conversion to clean heating, excluding solar installation.
Yeah, so home heating.
So it'll be heat pumps and solid fuel burners, that kind of thing. So
yeah, in a previous life, the council did Am I correct? Fund some of those?
Yes.
How big was the uptake?
So there were probably about, it was probably about between sort of 250, 300 in total. There was the majority was for heat pumps, but there was some for, fuel burners and that kind of thing as well. Sort of done through the ECA scheme.
Yeah.
So they sort of had a list of approved products, and yes, the applicant would choose something that was on the approved list, and it would be supplied that way. So
Yeah, I'm just thinking
so it's a
about
similar kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about some of the subject matter earlier about the amount of debt we're taking on. And whether we're going to need some sort of cap on this as to how many approvals we make for some of these things.
Potentially, yes. It's,
especially that one there. A lot of like the other ones, the infrastructure, a lot of that is compliance. People have to have it, but home energy improvements, not necessarily.
We did have a $5,000 limit per applicant.
Yeah.
On that, so yeah, we didn't have a limit in terms of number of applicants. So,
sorry, through you, Worship, for compliance for some of the heating was where they were in an issue where they couldn't continue to burn. Was that correct?
Yes, that's right. It was a Milton issue. So
there were compliance reasons for some of the heating upgrades as well.
Yeah.
Councillor Smith.
Yeah, through the chair, Greg. I had a couple of ratepayers actually ask me about that. And is there a risk to council where you don't get your money back? And secondly, what happens if that person on sells that property? Council got some legal way of getting that money back? And that was the question from a couple of ratepayers.
okay, yeah. So pretty much like a lot of them, the heating and insulation ones get repaid on sale of the property anyway, because it comes through the rates inquiry. So somebody they'll ask me what the balance is, and that'll be factored into the settlement statement of the property. So yes, so
They don't have
that's right.
to do that, they do that.
No, it's not. That's something that we would look at making it compulsory. We do reintroduce it. It does happen. I can only think about 2 cases where that hasn't happened. Majority of cases, it's always repaid in full on sale of the property. So, yeah.
Councillor Frost.
How long do they get to repay the loan?
Yeah, so under the old scheme, they had 5 years, but that's something we can. I think we can talk between 3 and 5 years, kind of thing. So that's I'd say maximum 5 years. So yeah.
Councillor Graham.
Oh, it's probably not actually a question.
Right. Okay, I'll move to someone else.
I noticed that the amount of people that didn't support the home heating one, that were against it, and yet they all support the health and safety, whereas to me the home heating one can contribute to the health and safety in a big way. It really surprised me that the people that were against that, and I just wondered if they didn't really understand it or.
Yeah, through you, Wish, it was clear from some of the comments that they thought other people would have to pay for it rather than the person who had opted for it. So I think when you're looking at those responses, just consider that as part of the decision-making process. People are electing to take this on. It's not, no one else pays for it. It needs to be self-funding. So it's a purely choice for the property owner.
It doesn't actually cost council any, it's
neutral.
Yes,
Yes.
pays for itself. They pay for it.
So does that lead to a question then, Greg? So it's rates neutral. So the bit council's actually acting as a finance company. And so what sort of level of debt would you anticipate, project in the first year, 24 months, 36 months?
I guess it would depend on the uptake. So
yeah. So what was the uptake in previous years? When it was?
Yeah, well, they're about close to 300.
300. So it was $5,000.
Not all of them took the maximum 5,000. So some of them were only like 1,500.
Yeah.
So so it just depended on what the work they wanted done was. So
Yeah, so we're effectively acting as a finance company. I think we all know what the outcome of that would be with their rate cards. Councillor Catherwood.
Well, I mean, we all understood it was always going to be rate neutral. It's about them accessing council funding rate. It was a lower rate than the bank rate. And the reason it came up initially around this table was to tidy up our infiltration. People that saying they couldn't afford to sort out their stormwater pipes going into our sewers. So this was a way of forcing that. That's where the infrastructure piece came into it. So, I mean, I'm happy to. I think the general public have come back and it's swayed that aren't supportive. They didn't understand. They thought they were going to be paying for it. Whereas this is cost neutral. There is a finance cost to it, which gets the finance cost gets passed on to the actual customer. So, I'd be happy to approve the recommencements on self-funding, voluntary targeted rates, but I'd like to put around that a maximum of $5,000 with a maximum of the total pool of 5,000, probably maximum pool of $300,000.
So where do you propose we're going to borrow this $300,000 from?
From the same funding source that our borrowings are at. Because it's cost neutral.
It's going to also help increase our debt ceiling. Councillor McAtamney.
Yeah, I am in support of these rates, but the only thing I just would question is whether, I mentioned there's home energy improvements, but in the infrastructure is that we only lend if that work's needed to meet compliance with legal requirements. So that if someone can't run a coal fire, or if someone needs to put a water tank in to have their 2 days storage, so that we don't just let people go, hey, I'd like a new heat pump.
Councillor McKinney.
Through you, Your Worship. Greg, so like the infrastructure side of it, there are people out there that, maybe want to connect onto a sewer main or water or something. So would 5,000, would that cover it? Or is that sort of thing a bit more?
Do you know that, Jules?
Because you've got some.
Definitely not. No, for example, and this was a few years ago, a wastewater pump station to connect to the BNR wastewater scheme, even 6 or 7 years ago, was like 14, 15 grand. Those are quite expensive, as well as the financial contributions and those sorts of things.
I think Greenaway was about 18K 5 years ago. So.
I was being optimistic.
Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we're debating here whether to do it or not the policy. Is the policy already in existence, or do we have to write that for our approval?
When we met with Delwyn there a few weeks back, and part of the policy process, we opted to keep it in, did we not? Moving forward, was that not one of our decisions? We're workshopping through the policy Peter rule, no? It was around that component, around community housing and all the other stuff.
I mean, Your Worship, I think we just got to be careful that it's a rate, and we had to be careful what was spelled out. And you might be able to assist us here. I mean, what we put in the official, the documentation that went out for consultation, you've got to be pretty much aligned to what that says. I'm not sure to what extent, it reflected the details of policy, but it must have been clear around what the rate was for. And that's the parameters by which it's been consulted on. And that is what you must, agree to if you're going to approve it without deviation in that sense, because of the fact that it's quite a legal rate. I'm correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's got, it's not actually related to the policy that was presented by Delwyn on housing. This is very much a rating category, and it's kind of similar to, you know, when you're considering other rates. This is going to be a rate that's applied to people who uptake within this program. So we may have some, you know, internal kind of ways of how we assess kind of, and, you know, Greg and I talked about, for example, credit rating checks, things like that, but that's not the same as kind of like a policy for example, simple selection of tenants and things like that. So this is, just to be clear, this is a rate.
Councillor Graham.
Yes, through you. There was this partially answered there because I thought like there'd have to be a criteria for applying for say, a home energy improvement. It wouldn't be just because you want to replace a heat pump or something. There'd be a whole set of criteria that you'd have to have all the boxes ticked surely. That, you know, if you've got $1 million in the bank, you wouldn't probably get a rubber stamp. So.
We had a questionnaire for when we used to do the heat pump and insulation where they could sort of fill out the like demographic details and if they had health issues and that kind of thing, they would put age and that kind of thing. So yes, it kind of was a information request, I guess. Really.
Obviously, yeah, case by case, isn't it? So yeah, I'd have no trouble supporting this one.
Going back to your comment, Councillor Catherwood, like to see there's a number of banks out there at the moment advertising home improvement loans.
Yep.
Way cheaper than what council's borrowing money for. But I think you're right too, Councillor McAtamney, there should be some criteria possibly needs to be looked at.
We won't have a sting in the tail like the banks. Those loans run for 2 or 3 years and then they'll roll them over. Then they'll get their interest back. We won't be doing that.
Any further discussion?
So how open-ended is it then? If we leave this recommendation at 2, as the council approves, it seems like we're approving as such. But how open-ended is it? Funding-wise, cost amount. When Brendan just made the comment, because Sewerage down in Owak, in Aware, it's a minimum probably $20,000 someone chose to. So we're leaving it open-ended. Question?
Through you, Your Worship. I mean,
is that the intention?
It's pretty much been self-limiting because you have to pay it back within 3 to 5 years. So, and it is a rate. So we have first port of call on the property before the banks do. So people would not go into these lightly, and they usually only do this if they don't have the finance elsewhere. So I mean, we haven't had screens of them when they were available in the past for those other infrastructure things. But if you want to do work on your property and you need to get a building consent and change your floor area of your property, you actually have to connect to the sewer in some situations if it's close. So there are occasions where that will be forced on people and they go, I didn't expect to have a $20,000 cost because I wanted to extend my kitchen. We've also had people come back when we were working through the I&I issues saying, I can't afford to redo my drainage, but this would give them the opportunity to potentially pay that off over 5 years. But even at 20 grand, you've got to be paying $4,500 a year. They're still got to pay back. So it's really to give people an option to spread that big cost out. And people wouldn't be doing it unless they had to, I would assume, in many situations.
So the answer to my question is that there is no figure put on it.
But it's been self-limiting.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can always have eligibility. You can put eligibility criteria and things if you wish to. It's your choice in terms of the fact that the rate's there. That's the legal bit we need.
Yep.
Right. We could make a rate and then choose not to even do it. Right? But the rate still exists. So we do have limiting abilities if we need to.
And we do need to point out there is more work that needs to be done. Even if you make a decision to do it, this is not going to be available from the 1st of July. There's actually other work and documentation and things, isn't there, Greg? That's right. To be worked through. So you'll have plenty of time if you want to put some criteria on it before it actually we offer any agreements to it.
Cool. Thank you.
Councillor McAtamney.
Can I please move recommendation 1 And recommendation 2, that council approves the VTRs, including A, B and C, the options for A, B and C.
I'll just go around the table. There's been a couple of councillors who haven't had the opportunity to ask as many questions as others. Councillor Crosty.
I'm just a little bit nervous about the funding of it. I don't see anything problems with the idea. It's just, you know, we're on a bit of a tight leash ourselves now anyway.
Yeah. Councillor Harrison. No comment? Everyone else is right. Rightio. Do we have a seconder for council?
I'm seconding Councillor Lieutenant.
It's my job to get rattled out. That's not yours, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Catherwood. I'll take you to dislocate your shoulder. Right. Please show of hands for all those in favour. It's unanimous.
Well, that was a lot around.
Rigorous debate. Thank you. Rightio, we're on the last item of the agenda. Cosmos, I don't think this is going to take too much, and then we'll close the meeting out.
Well, Your Worship, we can do staff submissions if you wanted to try and get it jumped tomorrow. There's still plenty of time to do that
Right.
and close out to try and, you know, push the council through if they wish to. So.
What's the appetite there, team?
Yep.
Staff submissions, what page are they on?
I just see we're doing Cosmos.
Yeah, but, righto, we'll get on with the Cosmos. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll just take the report as read. We have to take questions and discussion.
Questions for Cosmos, councillors? It's been a contentious one, this glass, hasn't it? It's a bit like living in a glass house at the moment, but
Your Worship, I mean, I'm sure Cosmos would have probably, you weren't here this morning when we first started this discussion, Cosmos, but I think you'd want to, and staff would want to point to the fact that, that option 1 does give us some budget savings that can translate to try to offset the deficit for this year that we're aware of. So that's quite a bonus in that sense, and it's an opportunity that's been provided to us if we want to take it. So,
that's right.
Just highlight that. You weren't here when we had all the discussion this morning.
I hope you're not trying to influence.
I'm just pointing out a fact, Your Worship.
Councillor Gray.
Just through you, I'm just wondering if and when we amalgamate, can we amalgamate with someone with that glass processing?
Thank you. I'll move on to Councillor Harrison. I think you had your hand up, did you?
No.
No. Oh, it wasn't. Let me guess. That would be Councillor Catherwood.
I'd actually like to move some recommendations.
Well, we're still going to discussion. Thank you for your eagerness, Councillor. Any further discussion? Councillor Cotton.
Thank you, Your Worship. I agree with the sentiment that there's an opportunity to defer, and I think it's probably the most prudent thing we can do right now. Yeah.
Councillor McAtamney, you've been very vocal today. No comment? Any further discussion? I'll ask for someone to make a recommendation. Oh, Councillor McCrosty.
No, I was giving Catherine.
Oh, Councillor Catherine. Councillor Catherine.
I'd like to move recommendation 1 and 2.
Yep. I'll take us. Would you like to recommend 1 and 2?
Yes, 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Seconder, Councillor Cotton. No further discussion. We'll go straight to a vote. Please show of hands. In favour? Unanimous. Carried. Thank you, Cosmos. It's been one of the easiest things we've had to do today. Back to our discussions. We're still in meeting mode. What page number is 144? 144?
Yes, and I've had Your Worship, Council, I've had a quick look, and looking at them, I believe they are things that we can address today. We don't have to wait to defer anything for Thursday specifically. I think we could just work our way through those.
Right. The next question would be, though, are the staff ready to come and talk to these?
I think majority of staff here, yep.
We could have a short recess and a stretch if we need to give notice to some of the staff.
Are you happy to talk to the ones that were?
Yep. We can have a quick wee break if you need a bit of time for the staff to get going.
We're ready to go.
Right.
Oh, hang on.
What do you want, straight?
Councillor Cathwood.
You okay, Councillor Cathwood? Do you want to cuddle or you okay?
No, I just think,
Well, if you're not happy, please say.
I'll play away the number one.
You what, sorry?
Oh, there's a particular topic in here that I plan to actually do a little bit more of my own homework on, making a decision.
Get off your chair, Sam.
If there's an issue, we can always hold one of them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or we can talk about it and see whether you're comfortable or not.
You're correct.
That's right.
Yeah. Just want to.
We're here to serve, councillor, so you tell us.
So the way you've written it, or the way the report's been written, it's item by item with an explanation, and there is a resolution attached to each item.
Okay, so I can go through.
Just go item by item. So
Everyone's aware, page 144, item number 12.
With the pen, it's Jules, not you. That's right.
You're a bit like Councillor Cathwood. You're very keen today.
Get stuff done.
So through you, Your Worship, as we have discussed earlier today, we do have an emergency fund, and the operations team under Donna's team have been very diligently trying to deal with all of the costs associated with the wind event under their existing budgets, to the detriment of other work that they've had to put off. This report provides a summary of the wind event costs in parks and reserves and cemeteries, and looking to asking council to consider funding that from the emergency funds. Noting that there's other work that they would be asking you to fund as a staff submission if you don't say yes to that, because there's that other work that I've put off. Naston Park, there's a slide replacement at Papatawai, temporary rock wall work at Naston Park, and there's one other area as well. So happy to take the report as read, Your Worship, and answer any questions. And as you can see, the emergency fund has a balance of 3.85 million as at the start of the financial year.
And just to add to that, the emergency fund, Steve, that's where we used 100,000 to prop up the mural relief fund.
Yes, but
Was
I
that the same
understand
fund?
you had spent all that.
Yes. So we've made the mural relief fund panel have made a decision to pay it back to the emergency fund. I think the emergency, personally, my own recent experience with the weather events and my dealings with the DIA, which I'll have to choose my words, and I'll just leave it as very disappointed with the outcome of that. That the emergency fund, this is a really, really good space to be looking at, because we've got some very good topics here that need to be addressed. So, questions? Councillor McAtama.
Yeah, so this emergency reserve fund, so they actually draw cash out of that. Am I right to believe that from this morning that money is sitting in the NECO account, or is there a physical?
It's a reserve. No, you're right, councillor. The reserve, the actual funds are in the NECO investment account, and would have received the return for the year as per other accounts. So it would have received that benefit.
Yep, so it's effectively going to be a book entry of withdrawal. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So will it actually get withdrawn with the rest and then put into the?
Again, what we look at, councillor, is once the annual plan's done, how much is committed from the investment surplus, the investment account, which is either the pure investment related side or reserves like the emergency fund. We just add them all up and work out whether or not we've got sufficient cash holdings that haven't yet been transferred in. And if not, noting we've got to take out 800,000 at some point, we would make a withdrawal from the account.
Questions? Councillor Capital.
So then it's right to say that 155 grand is no additional rating impact, is it? It's just a taking it from our investment fund, which is AKA called the emergency fund.
No, there's a portion of that, yeah. Yes.
But realistically, it's coming out of that. There's no rating impact.
Not if you choose that as the source.
And so where are we at on this wind event insurance cost as well? So I think, aren't we just tidying up the flood event like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, so through you, Your Worship, we've been really clearly told we can't get insurance for things like tree cleanup and those sorts of things, but Linda's team's working through an insurance for a whole lot of water-related costs and damage through that. So that's separate to this specific issue.
So there'll be no insurance money will be allocated back into this.
Not for this. This is like making
Totally
parks and reserves safe and cleaning up trees. That sort of stuff's we can't get insurance for that. We'd have to have specific insurance for wind event, which the feedback we got was that it's just not worth having because it costs you so much. So no, we don't have insurance for this type of damage, and it was an unprecedented event in terms of the damage it caused as well.
Okay. I'm happy.
There's my question, Your Worship.
Questions? Someone like to move that we receive the staff submission report? Councillor McCrosty, seconded by Councillor Frost. We've got the summary of requests here.
So, Your Worship, you would go to page 146. There's a recommendation there for this particular item.
146. Councillor. Right, there's the first recommendation. The council does not approve allocation. Cover the parks and reserve cemetery wind event. Would someone like to make
Happy to move it as the council approve.
And second, Councillor Harrison. Right. Anyone not happy? Will we move straight into a vote? Show of hands, please. And those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, councillors.
Next one is Rosebank Hill.
Rosebank Hill, Floyd Street, water supply.
You can speak to it.
Hello everyone, I'm Enrique. I'm the senior project manager for the 3 water space. So now I'm gonna talk about Rosebank Hill. Waka Kotahi New Zealand Transport Agency has scheduled resealing works along the State Highway 1 in early 2027 and has requested that all underground work be complete in advance. This made this project critical to avoid rework, increased cost, and disruption to be on the State Highway 1 corridor. Clutha District Council has identified deteriorating wastewater and water supply asset within the Rosebank Hill area, with an increasing risk of failure and service disruption. The project will renew both wastewater and water main asset ahead of the NZTA program. In terms of scope, the wastewater main extend about 387 meters from Hospital Road along Clyde Street through to Ross Street. The water mains includes 2 sections with a total length of about 837 meters from Hospital Road to Ross Street and from Michi Road through to Wilson Road along Clyde Street. In terms of considerations, the project aligns with NZTA program and must be delivered on time to avoid future costs and disruption. The scope remains unchanged and the project addresses increasing asset failure risk. Delaying the project would result in higher cost and continued risk to the network. For the funding, there is currently no approved budget for this project, and no additional funding is being requested. For the wastewater component, funding will be relocated from Clinton Seaward Pump Station upgrade, providing a total budget of about $630,000. For the water main component, funding will be reallocated from the Kaitangata Intake Renewal Project, providing a total budget of about $1.17 million. Clinton Seaward Pump Station upgrade and the Kaitangata Intake Renewal projects remain in design phase, and final cost will be confirmed when the design is completed. This approach allows us to progress the project without requesting new funding and deliver the works ahead of the NZDA program.
Questions? Councillor Graham, I believe you'll have.
I do, it's not so much a question as that bit of road has been an embarrassment and a problem for years. And do we really want it to end up like Union Street, to the top of Union Street? So I fully approve the reallocation of funds for this.
You're quite comfortable with the reallocation of the Kaitangata?
Well, with the I suppose temporary measures that have been put in with the two tanks and that will guarantee a supply in Kai or interim, I'm quite comfortable.
Right. Any further questions, Councillor McAtamney?
Yeah, so that Clinton pump station, obviously you hadn't got to the design stage yet, so I'm assuming that there was no way that could be completed
in that timeframe
in the following year.
Through your worship, so in one of the council meetings back in February, we have identified the Clinton sewer pump station as a design-only project. So
Meaning that may or may not happen.
That we can still do the design because there's still additional money of 100+ to do the design.
Yeah, but there's still an intention, obviously, to replace it. So
that would be a decision further down the road.
Through you, Worship. So as Raymar's alluded to, we brought a strategic paper to our councillors, and after discussions with our Three Waters Department team on prioritisation of urgency and need, that was one of the projects that is determined to be deferred and only taken to design only.
Councillor Smith, you good? All right.
Oh no, just right before CEO takes over, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, through you, Worship, is it worth just briefly explaining how the process will happen with the new the new council entity? So, like, we have to prepare budgets for the next 10 years, and then that goes to the new entity to prepare their water services strategy, and they bring together all the budgets from all the 4 councils and look at the funding and those sorts of things. So, whilst we might be deferring this project, it doesn't mean it's being deferred completely. It can be put into that forward works program that's going to the new water entity.
You would expect
Councillor Catherwood.
So then probably the only question then would be is to this is obviously pretty urgent. So we're reallocating by putting these criteria intake renewal. I mean, is that urgent piece of infrastructure as well? Like, is that about to fail and by interfering it?
As Councillor Graham just pointed out, with the extra tanks there, that's adding a bit of security.
One tank.
Through you, Worship, just reiterating that the councillors made those decisions in February after we'd worked very closely with Three Waters Operations on urgency and prioritisation, and all those projects had been identified that due to the CCO that we could actually defer and only take them to design only at this stage, so that we've got a bundle of design packages to bring to the CCO.
Nothing's urgent.
So that's that lane as you're coming up the hill on the left side, Like that's been like that for a long time. So I've always wondered why it's so rugged. Like it's like a farm track. Honestly, it is.
Moving.
So it's all the infrastructure when the underneath's failing too and needs to be renewed.
Can you confirm, Enrique, which traffic lane the sewer's in?
The traffic line is yes, going from north to south would be on the right.
Oh, so that's not where the fire hydrants are.
No, it's not the right.
So the fire hydrants are on the left, and that's
Water main's on the left and the sewer's on the
so that's just getting resealed there.
So how old is that sewer?
As far as I know, maybe 100 years the water supply.
I think it's.
No, it's not very old.
Yeah.
But yes, I can confirm that information.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is self-explanatory, isn't it?
But through you, Your Worship, we've actually had elected teaching specialists go and check that line repeatedly, and it doesn't have a leak that we've been able to find recently on the water main side.
Touch wood.
However, it could be piping along the water pipeline, which means that there needs to be better subsoil drainage under that road to stop that happening. We don't agree that the water main is the problem on that left-hand lane. It's been a source of debate for many years with NZTA. But the sewer line is on the other side of the road. It's towards the lower part of Clyde Street, on the northbound lane. So that isn't going to fix the issue on the southbound lane.
Right.
Just so you don't get a surprise when the construction starts.
More or less.
So then are we replacing something that doesn't need replacing?
No, through you, Worship. So what we're trying to do is to have good brand reputation protection for us as well. The last thing we'd want to do is for NZTA to put down brand new reseals, and this asset is becoming close to its end of useful life. We had it planned for this project to be done, I think it was about 2 years, in 2 years' time. What we're proposing is to bring the project forward, get the underground infrastructure works completed before NZTA spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to do a renewal on the state highway.
So the infrastructure's failed? No, just end of life.
Correct, and it's programmed to be done in 2028. We could leave it like that. However, then Clutha Council for a brand reputation is it going to be a great look for us to dig up a brand new state highway?
Won't be us.
Have you been through it? Milton? Yes. Swimming pool on the main road? Yes. Right. Oh dear. Everyone happy with that? Right. Someone like to move on the recommendations? Councillor Harrison.
Yes, I recommend that the council approve the reallocation of the funds and approves the reallocation of 630,000 from Clinton Sewer Pump Station upgrade, and that they approves the reallocation of the 1.17 million from the Kotanga intake renewal budget.
Seconded by Councillor Graham. I think any truck drivers would be very happy with your motion. Yeah, Councillor Harrison. No further discussion. We'll launch straight into a show of hands. All those in favour? Carried. Unanimous. Item number 4, Renfrew Streets.
Yeah, the existing stormwater network on Renfrew Street is currently undersized and no longer meets capacity requirements, contributing to surface flooding during rainfall events. This project involves installing about 187 meters of 300 millimeter stormwater main from near number 20 Renfrew Street via John Street through to Duncan Street. Upgrade will improve its hydraulic performance, reduce flood risk, and support ongoing residential development within the area. The project scope, level of service, and compliance requirements remain unchanged. However, the update cost reflects improved cost certainty following detailed design and current market condition, including increase on construction plant and fuel cost. Over the past 12 months, fuel prices have been increased significantly, with petrol rising from about 15 to 30% and diesel by approximately 25 to 40%. As construction activity are heavily reliant on fuel, this increase has directly impacted in project cost. Delaying the project could result in increased flooding risk, higher ongoing maintenance cost, and greater future upgrade costs. The delivery team considers the current proposal to provide the best overall cost-benefit outcomes. In terms of funding, the project currently has approved budget of $250,000. Approval is being sought to reallocate about $196,000 from Hospital Creek Pump Station upgrade project, bringing the total project budget to about $446,000, with no additional funding request. The Hospital Creek project remains in the design phase, and final cost will be confirmed once the detailed design is complete.
Questions?
Your Worship.
Councillor Cox.
Thank you. When do you expect the design phase to be completed?
For Renfrew Street, is on 90% progress. We are expecting to have the last review by the end of this month. So we'll be ready to do the tendering process by end of June.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Councillor Gray.
Yeah, through you. How many buildings or dwellings in John Street?
As far as I know, there are only 8 units that will be at the corner of John Street.
Yeah, 8.
8. Yeah, this is the information I got at the moment. And they are aiming to finish by the end of this year, or by December.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Frost.
I'd like to recommend that we move that the council approve the reallocation of $196,527 for the Renfrew Street Stormwater Main Extension Project.
Who don't want to carry on with that recommendation?
After this reallocation, the remaining budget for the Hospital Creek Pump Station upgrade will be $743,508. The Hospital Creek project is currently in the design phase and the final scope of construction costs are not yet confirmed. The 25-26 budget will be used to complete the design.
Everyone's clear on that? Seconded by Councillor Harrison. There is no more discussion. We'll launch into a show of hands. Support. Unanimous. Thank you. Item number 5. Charlotte Street.
Yeah, the Charlotte Street water main is in poor condition and is no longer coping with the current operating pressures. This has resulted in a repeat unplanned services disruption for the community. We are proposing to replace about 880 meters of pipe to improve reliability and provide more consistent water supply. The section extends from George Street along Charlotte Street through Caldervan Street. The project scope has not changed. The updated cost simply reflects a more accurate estimate following detailed design, along with the current market condition, particularly increases in construction, fuel, and equipment cost. Progressing the work now will reduce the risk of further failure, lower ongoing maintenance cost, and minimize disruption for the resident over the long term. This is considered the most practical and cost-effective solution. The original project budget was $205,000, and no additional funding is being requested. Instead, approval is being sought to reallocate about $73,000 from the Kaitangata intake renewal, bringing the total project budget to about $278,000. This is a straightforward reallocation of existing fund and does not change the project scope. It simply reflects improved cost certainty as the project has progressed from the planning into detailed design. Following this adjustment, the Kaitangata program will be retained about $1.4 million in remaining budget. The project is continued through the design phase, and final cost will be confirmed once tenders are received. In summary, this is a practical and low-risk approach that uses existing funding to address immediate issue and provide more reliable water service to the community.
Thank you. Right. Questions? Pretty self-explanatory, isn't it?
There's probably more of a statement. If we keep robbing from Peter to pay Paul, there's going to be nothing left to collect Paul's part.
Well, actually, as identified by staff of the water team and ops, water ops and project management, the money was deferred. So,
Yeah, I think it's.
we've got to invest. Well, they've highlighted areas of investment that are greater than others. So,
Yes, but also once you make a decision that you're going to go down in just a design phase only, that knocks a lot of money off the budget that then becomes available for these things that become urgent.
and as Jules stated before, that the other stuff, the design phase is still going to be put forward to the CCO moving forward. So we're not really robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're actually dealing with an issue. And if we didn't rob Peter and Paul still needed the money, where's the money going to come from anyway?
Either way, the magic bucket.
Yeah.
And our
Councillor
water
McAteer.
team and infrastructure team are working on a short-term plan which will keep that kai intake pumps rolling for us. We will use
Until the design phase.
It's been accepted, it's going to happen.
On the way. In the process.
Yeah.
Happy to move if you want to move.
Well, if there's going to be no further discussion, someone like to that recommendation, Councillor Cotton?
I am, Your Worship, happy to move recommendation as written. Page 1.
Second it.
That.
That Councillor Frost? Sorry, I didn't know whether Dean was scratching
No,
or chucking his finger up. Yeah. Councillor Frost. So we'll launch straight into a show of hands, please. Carried, unanimous.
Your Worship, that's approved.
Approved. Well, that's what you recommended under that recommendation, wasn't it? Councillor Cotton. Approve the reallocation. Right, we're moving on to item number 6. This one here will be close to Councillor Catherwood's heart. A Waki Sewer Network renewal.
Happy to move the recommendation.
It's a bit of a no-brainer. It's been well laid out there. What's going on? Any conversation before we accept Councillor Catherwood's recommendation? No conversation. Someone like to second Councillor Catherwood's recommendation? Councillor Harrison? No further discussion. By Jove, you're awfully keen today, Councillor Catherwood. You're teaching Councillor Harrison some bad habits. She's throwing her hand up too. Well, we'll go to the vote then, please. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Unanimous, carried. Thank you.
This game is obviously, it's just a natural.
Item number 7. Welcome, Scott.
Hi. Thank you, Worship. So I'll step in on behalf of Scott because he's away at conference and training at the moment. So Naston Park, I know that this had been mentioned earlier in the day to the councillors. This was an urgent site where there's been a lot of erosion occurring, where the actual, you can see by the photo that the pump station was literally on the edge. So once it had been alerted to us, we managed to get under emergency work status, so get a retrospective consent requirements from ORC to put some urgent work in place, which when you receive our ISD report next week, you'll see the photos associated with that. So I think it's from memory about 350 tonne of rock has now been put in place to sort of safeguard this asset and to hold the site until we hopefully can receive additional funding from councillors to actually do some capital works associated with the site. Originally there was, we'd originally had a quote of about $80,000. This is some time back when it was within a different activity looking after this at the point in time. Now with considerations of how much the additional erosion has occurred, I think there is a photo in here, it may not have been included, showing the extent of the erosion over the last 2 years. It's been significant when that first pricing had come through, and now we're estimating to be about 150,000.
So to add through you, Your Worship, this is not new. This was, we had a $30,000 budget and previously, and that was for the consenting and design phase. And that project said, once we understand what the costs will be, this will need to come back to council for further consideration. And here we are.
Is this the entire rock wall along Nelson's Park? The one, replace what's there now?
Through you, Worship, I'm not 100% sure. I can't comment on that. I'd have to get some more details from the team, but I know where the erosion has occurred, it's really significant. And the rock work that we've done as an interim measure is protecting that asset. However, with weather events, we're going into winter, there's no guarantee how long that will really hold without doing some really significant capital works.
Yeah, because the whole rock sea walls are
I'd have to come back to you on that.
Just so it's more than the 40 metres, but referenced in here. And the 40 metres was changed anyway because the immediate emergency works we needed to do was around about 10 metres, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we didn't go down the 40 metre pathway. But from this report, it seems clear that it's not the 40 metres, it is extended beyond that to get $150,000 value.
Through you, Your Worship, for those who have been to Punaware, it's a similar design to Punaware, which is a drainage layer underneath it and then rock armouring on top. So if the sea does go over, it then drains through without causing damage, which has been quite successful along the Punaware for sure.
It would be fair to say that this is just another form of insurance, long-term insurance, isn't it? So it's a need to have.
Well, also, Your Worship, you'll know that it's been a long-standing bone of contention and concern for community out there, and this action allows us to finish it.
Well, I thought under the leadership of Councillor Crosties out there, it was a wonderful community.
getting there.
Councillor Cameron.
So where does that community, this comes about, this erosion and that carry on. We end up footing the bill through district ratepayer. They're paying ORC rates out there as well. So does that roll? Is there no support from ORC when it comes to this type of work?
For you, Your Worship, if the ORC was going to put some protection in there, they'd make a specific rating area for it and then rate them for it. So this gets funded from our rural parks and reserves, which is where we've funded other, like the Punaware seawall was funded over our rural parks and reserves budget, which is split. Sharon, Greg or Trade might be able to confirm it, but I think it is split between the community of interest rates as well as the UAGC. Like it's split across all those community areas because there's rural in every single one.
for the people of this area with this problem, just like the people that were in Pittsburgh as well, what do they get for their LRC rates, for their protection?
Well, we're not actually debating the ORC because in 2028 you will be the ORC if you run for council again.
That's a question I want to answer.
You'll have to ask them.
You'll have to ask them then. I've got Hilary Colbert's number if you'd like to talk to the chairwoman. Councillor Frost.
Through your worship, thank you. Donna, I was just wondering, how long is the process for the iwi and ORC? How long do you think that's going to take? Because to me, this sounds quite urgent. And do they understand the urgency of the situation?
Through your worship, so yes, discussions have been had with ORC to advise them of the situation, hence the reason we were able to basically under section 330 enable that urgent work to commence. But now we have to go through the consent process going forward. To answer that question, I can't answer that for you, but they are aware.
And we've had good, really good, we have really good relationships with iwi. We get feedback and responses to consents, in reasonable time as a result of that relationship as well. So we've got the emergency works done or being done, it's happening, and the process is continuing around the application. It's being submitted, if not already submitted.
And through your worship, the urgent work has been done, now completed.
Well, any further discussion? Was it? No? Yeah. Would you want to move that? Yep. Recommendation?
So I'd like to move the recommendation that council does approve the funding of 150 for Nasty Park seawall construction 26-27 to be loan funded with rating impact 9,703.55 per year for 25 years starting in 27-28. This, if you've ever been over there, this is pretty much a must do in Murray.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Cotton. Thank you. If there's no further discussion, we'll go for the show of hands to support of the motion. Unanimous. Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
Welcome.
Number 8.
Nico's just coming up.
Nico. G'day, Nico.
You can call me Nicola today. Nico's based at Crown Street. I'm going to speak to this one.
Fine. Councillor Cathwood, I've sent you the chairwoman of the ORC's number. If you'd like to take the debate up with her, go for your life. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Three Waters Department is looking to purchase a vacuum truck. So in the last year's annual plan budget, $200,000 was approved for that purpose. But despite extensive searching, we haven't been able to find a truck that is of a suitable standard. Often the trucks are 25 years old plus, and we don't want to buy a problem and waste council's money. So we have looked at buying new options and are seeking now some funding to purchase a brand new truck. Our option is a Hino truck at a capital cost of $380,000. There'll be some additional costs required for hoses and the like to use the truck and make purpose of it. We're currently operationally spending around $375,000 per annum to have waste removed, and primarily it's waste, backwash waste from Milton Water Treatment Plant and Purua Water Treatment Plant that have been transported to Balclutha. But we've also identified that if we have our own vacuum truck, that we'll be able to do some other work that we also pay contractors to do. So when a pump is blocked, for example, we have to call in a contractor. We can lift the pump, we have a crane truck, but then we have to pay someone else to suck out the well and things. So with our own equipment, we'll be able to do that ourselves. And so the main purpose of this purchase is to save us operational costs that would fit under that non-routine expenditure budget line. So we're seeking $250,000 in addition to the $200,000 that's already been approved for this purchase.
The way you've got it written down there, Linda, it's a bit of a no-brainer, really, a net 10-year saving of 2.324 million.
I think the main thing, Your Worship, is that page, table on page 155. That whilst there's a capital cost purchase, right? So it's a cash flow thing, right? But we're not strapped for cash necessarily. But the offset is that there's high OPEX that we're actually budgeted to spend that we wouldn't spend then as a result. And so we're not suggesting the budget changes. So we still do the cash purchase, don't do the budget, but it helps us save money operationally that will go against the deficit.
Unknowns.
The ones that the LGFA's on about, things like that, to help us around that Three Waters OPEX deficit that we discussed, right? So again, it's a good suggestion to help us reduce pressure on the deficit from Three Water.
And we have discussed it with the new entity, because obviously we would be expecting that loan to be transferred across.
Yeah.
And
the service to be provided.
Gave us the feedback to say if you're making a capital purchase and it saves you operating costs, they would be supportive of that. I mean, there might be potential for us that to be used on the edges of our area with our other neighbouring councils once the new entity stands up.
So the vacuum truck, Linda, is that the one that does the street sweeping and all that too, or is this totally separate?
Purely waste, and
Right.
it's deposited at Balclutha wastewater,
Right.
straight into the pond.
Councillor Catherwood.
On this particular topic is the topic that I wanted to have a little bit more time to make a decision on, just because just reading it. I'm just going to go back and find it again, but it was very, very recent. It was another liquidation, massive liquidation in the North Island of a very large company dealing in vacuum trucks, etc. Massive infrastructure. It's all about to be liquidated and auctioned off. So I just don't think that. I mean, it's a lot of money for a vacuum truck.
But obviously that's what a vacuum truck's worth.
New.
Yeah. It's a long-term investment.
Yeah. I just don't think that's.
Through you, Your Worship, if we can.
I wanted to do a bit more homework to say, hang on a minute, actually you can go get this. This way.
We don't have
your
an
area of
issue.
expertise.
We don't have an issue researching other purchases if that was the case. We do have to be careful that to make sure that the entity wants to take it in there. But it's more about the principle of a capital purchase to offset the operational costs. We can certainly refer what you're suggesting, councillor, and it can be investigated. So we want to get the best deal too. It doesn't force us to do that. What we are interested in is for the budget purposes and the decision to be able to proceed. We can caveat it with at least investigating what you're suggesting in terms of a second-hand purchase.
Yeah, because I just noticed our local, one of our locals that goes through the town that I live in has obviously invested recently in a new plant that serves the district council as well. So it's kind of, I'd like to do a bit more. I'd like to know a little bit more.
Councillor Grant.
I'm happy to, I can see the cost savings.
Would this vacuum truck would have been used to suck ducks out of? No, the one at Waihola, the incident we had there would have been used
Potentially.
to do that.
Potentially.
And that was the vehicle that was busy so it would have solved that problem.
Councillor McCrosty.
Yeah. So two things. This would be passed on to CCA.
Yes.
Yep. And 3 years ago, when Milton ran out of water completely, it was one of these machines that saved us, wasn't it? Because it wasn't actually pumped, it was the build-up of sludge, etc., in that big blue tank. But they couldn't get the water.
So that's we're moving that daily.
Yeah.
So that's where the cost is coming.
Yeah, and
That's to meet our consent requirements.
No, thanks for
We got the compliance order from Te Mara Arawai in 2023.
Marvellous.
Oh, yeah, but have we had a look at the agenda? How many items are there? 12. Right, Councillor Frost.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to say, down the liquidation option, I would presume they need approval for the funding, so that then they can look at the liquidation side of things. So funding comes first and then look at the liquidation op, and if you don't have the funding available, you can't do it.
Can't look. So, any further discussion? Yeah, possibly one of the more easier topics today. Love the look of those savings. Hope we can find some more, please, Linda. Would someone like to make a recommendation?
Yes, Your Worship.
Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Cotton and seconded by Councillor McIntyre.
Sorry, Your Worship, just to pick up on Councillor Catherwood's point, we can easily deal with that.
Yeah, we can't deal with it though unless we approve it. So.
No, but sorry, but what I'm suggesting in terms of recommendation, we just simply made a change. We don't just specify the exact type of tank. We're specifying the funding of 250,000 for the purchase of a vacuum tanker truck to be loan funded. So if we just take out the bits that specify specific to the Hino, then that will satisfy Councillor Catherwood.
But will it satisfy the report holder presented?
Extra 250,000.
They know what they want.
400.
It's fit for purpose. So I'd recommend we stick with the recommendation. That's what Councillor Cotton's putting forward, and then if not happy, it doesn't go through, then it change it around. The report holders put forward specifically what they want, so that's what we're working on. Chopping and changing stuff. So what are you moving, Councillor Cotton?
Well,
That recommendation?
I moved the recommendation.
Yep, and it was seconded by Councillor McIntyre. We'll put it to the vote, and if it doesn't go through, we'll change it then. So, show of hands?
No, hang on.
No, we've debated it long enough. What do we want to talk about now?
No, you've moved it. It's been seconded.
Yeah.
I'd like the opportunity to.
Right, well, give you
have
the
a discussion. So the discussion is, if you want to show of hands to approve the recommendation,
yes,
you are approving $200,000 that's already in the budget, plus another $250,000 to purchase a new LVAC AV 8000 aluminium vacuum tank.
we're improving 250,000 on top of the already existing budget. There's
Of
clearly
200,000.
states. Yeah, clearly
So
states.
I will not be backing that recommendation.
So, go back to the original recommendation that's been moved and seconded. All those in favour, please raise your hands.
One.
You got that?
Rachel,
is your hand up or are you on the elbow?
No.
No.
It's not up.
No.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, Your Worship.
All those against, please hold your hands.
Can we just hold them up, keep them up, please, for anyone?
Right. Can I move an alternative motion, please?
Oh, I think we better let Councillor Catherwood
No.
but so
Okay.
quite happy for Councillor McIntyre to make it.
Council approves funding of up to $250,000 in 2026 for the purchase of a vacuum tanker truck to be loan funded with rating impacts as per the previous motion.
So we'll just let Ange catch.
250,000 for purchase of a.
Vacuum
Don't put the
tanker.
all back, just put vacuum tanker.
Truck.
So
The
we'd like to
council
read.
approves funding required of up to 250,000 in the 26-27 year for the purchase of a vacuum tanker truck to be loan funded with rating impacts of 30,000 per year for 10 years starting 27-28. To be offset by operational savings.
Is the actual
That what you're actually
Yep.
recommending, Councillor McIntyre?
Yes.
Yep. So would someone like to recommend, second that? Councillor Graham? Right, we're open for discussion.
I'm just wondering if the word is the extra 250,000 in the motion? Because you've already got 200,000.
This is up to.
It's a valid point. You can cover that by, if you just, if people are happy.
It's an additional.
To approve additional funding required of.
Otherwise
And that would
you've got
satisfy you. We're clear about additional to 200. Does that make sense to the mover and seconder?
So would you like?
The council approves additional funding required of up to 250,000.
You happy with that, councillor McAtamney? Right, happy with that, councillor Graham?
Very good.
Very good, love it.
Stoked.
Any further discussion? Right, we'll take it to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried. Unanimous. Right, we shall move on to item number 9. And our last one, we're just going to make it in on time because we've burnt up our 6 hours. After this one here, guys, we'll have a cup of tea and we'll get back into our other stuff after. Cup of tea.
Thank you. Your worship, this is seeking some approval of expenditure of around $300,000 to decommission assets that have currently been made redundant from the commissioning of the Balmoral Tuapeka Rural Water Scheme. And it's really to go in a controlled way and remove assets that can be repurposed in other schemes. And also probably identifying that with plants that are decommissioned and no part of the current structure and required to produce water, they may not be assets that the CCO would find very attractive to take over going forward. So we're looking for funding to go in around 150 out of Lawrence and 150 out of the Waidahuna and Evans Flat rural plants, and removing what we can.
Questions?
So obviously wasn't part of the original budget of the decommission.
Quick answer?
No, it's not.
Councillor is correct.
Councillor Collins?
Thank you, Your Worship. Linda, will this loan go directly against the consumers of the Balmoral Tuapeka scheme? Or will it be spread around the whole district?
Not our decision, because that loan's going to be part of what's handed over to the new entity. So the funding won't start until the year 1 of the new entity. But there would be part allocated to urban because of Lawrence, and part allocated to the rural supply because of the Waidahuna and Evans Flat sites.
So further to that, Your Worship, just on the Lawrence treatment station, water treatment station, what are the plans for that tank?
Staying live.
Staying live, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. That, through you, Your Worship, Te Mataroa, we're particularly concerned given the distance from the source. That's where we said we're going to have that storage as well as the storage at the new storage as well. So it's intended to stay live, and that gives us more flexibility for shutdowns as well. At the moment, we've got to shut down a whole part of the town, but we can feed it from either direction.
Yeah, okay. No, perfect sense. And on that, do you realise that it's on private land?
That's probably not part of today's discussion, so.
Happy to explain easements and water infrastructure at any time.
That's all right.
So just lots of questions about that all around the district.
That's fine. Thank you for your answers.
So Linda, so the decommissioning, and you're pretty confident that what's salvageable can be repurposed throughout the district?
Yes, Your Worship, we know that at Lawrence, for example, there's a what's called a log 3 UV unit. There's only one place that can go in the district, and that's into the Owaka water treatment plant.
Right, so there goes answers Councillor Cotton's question then. The
duty and standby.
If that was valued, that would go against the Owaka urban if they're going to be charging
it's already an
the Lawrence Tuapeka.
It's already an urban asset.
It's already an urban asset, so then the $300,000 would not go against
No,
the Lawrence Tuapeka.
you'd have to put the
Especially
cost where they lay.
Yeah. You're not putting the cost where they lay.
No.
We are, because whatever it costs us to sort out the Evans Flat and Waidahuna plant will be charged to the rural scheme. It costs us to sort out Lawrence will be charged to urban. So there'll be two the different budgets to
Right.
sort out these existing sites.
And for example, the pumps that are at Evans Flat are intended to go to the Kai intake interim solution. And so there will be a transfer of those assets.
Yeah, so that makes it a lot clearer for what Councillor Cotton was talking about. Councillor Frost.
Excuse my ignorance, but $300,000 to decommission a little bit of machinery here and there seems a lot of money to me. So is there any specific reason why it's so high?
No, other than we've probably done this at the last minute and taken the punt. So we'd be looking for best cost, and it can be that we have to remove things and then have them serviced to put into another plant. So you're not just removing a device out of one plant, you then have to install it somewhere else.
May also be demolition as well. Structures at the Waitāhuna treatment plant need to be demolished, and it's not the easiest site to get in and out of either. So hopefully we can negotiate with the landowner and find somewhere where that can be demolished and buried on site.
And just to assist as well, there could be potential if there's asbestos in any of those sites. That is a very expensive task to be done. You have to get it all tested, reports done, and then determine where you can place the material.
Good question though, Councillor Frost. Very good question. There's nothing wrong with asking the why. Any more discussion? No? Catherine, come on, you've got one.
Oh, well, I just, I'm
Come
on the
on.
same lines as Frost. I don't know the sites. Probably looking
But no,
have
you got a question though? I asked you, have you got a question?
Yeah, but that may not be spent.
Has anyone got questions? Is what I'm
Approving
asking.
it.
I haven't approved anything. Sorry.
I'm asking if anyone's got questions. Further questions for Linda? Oh, well, we'll go for the vote.
Just before you go to a motion, Your Worship, I noticed that the recommendation has got a stray truck poked in there. Second to last line, so recommendation would not include a truck in this instance.
You're going to buy a tractor cart.
300.
Vacuum it up, bro.
It'll be a good one to get out of Waitāhuna.
Do you want an alloy one or just an ordinary one? The truck's been removed. So would you like to read it out to us, please, Ange?
So are we going?
So no, what have you got there at the moment? The council approves, does not approve funding of 300K capital expenditure in the 26-27 for decommissioning, remediation, make safe works and partial repurposing of legacy water treatment plant sites associated with the Barramile Tuapeka Rural Water Scheme. Full stop.
Project.
Truck.
Take it.
Yeah, no, full stop after water scheme, and then the rest is going with councillor Catherwood. Right. Does anyone want to move that recommendation?
Yeah, sure.
Councillor McAtemin.
I'm not going to read the other again.
Yeah, that was pretty clear. Seconded by councillor Cotton. I'm going to go for a show of hands. All in favour? Unanimous. Now, we can't, I told Paul Key, Linda slipped in a number 10 there at the very bottom of that page. Our time is up, so we need to resolve just to carry on. Or
no, Your
is it
Worship.
okay to carry on?
No, because effectively this number 10 can be held anyway, because it's only there as a potential if there was percentages and funds available. So it was just built in there so we could talk about it. If there was an element there to be considered before you finalise things.
Mhm.
So that can just be set till Thursday to see whether anything still exists. I do, so we can end, Your Worship, as you would have. I just make the point that I just did my own homework. Sharon's not here, but Greg's here. I haven't asked them if we've checked it, that we can do mathematics together, but my take on it is with the decisions that you've made is rate funding increases of 37.8K or thereabouts, which to my mind still suggests that if we were looking at potentially, not going past 19.52%, that you've still got $162,000 of rate funding available for any particular stuff, so any community funding decisions Thursday, Your Worship. So just to bear in mind, all I'm saying is there has been some rate impacts. It has shifted from 19.02%, but we talked about what would get to 19.52, 200,000. You spent 27.8 of it, and you still got 162,000 there before you hit the 19.52%. So just bear that in mind because there is some rate funded community funding.
Can I just make a suggestion, please, Steve, that tomorrow that is confirmed an email to all the councillors so they have it front of mind moving into Thursday.
Certainly.
And the next.
Can I just ask one question? Where's the 19.52?
No. So what we discussed is that we're starting at 19.02.
Yeah.
And then we said 200,000 is approximately 0.5%.
Yeah.
And so all I was saying is that that's 19.52 if you were to spend $200,000 a rate.
But we've got a rates cap of 20, so we could be 19.99.
You could. There's some leeway there, but you can do what you like. That's right.
Or you could leave it where it is and borrow it.
No,
Council make a attempt to independent of that.
It's not the 162 I said is not a hard number or a hard cap on you. It's just a reminder of what you've got to leave. But yes, we can put that out, Your Worship. And then, so we're having a break.
Yep, we'll have a break and then we will.
Oh, sorry, we're closing.
We'll close the meeting and then we'll have a break and we'll go over the next hurdles, the challenges that have been presented to us. Yeah, so would someone like to move, we're adjourned, well, we're adjourning, we're finished.
Yes, we are adjourning till Thursday.
Yes, we're adjourning to Thursday. Would someone like to move that, Councillor Kennedy? Yeah, Councillor McCrosty. All those in favour, please raise your hands.